Hey everyone, Scott Hansen here from NFL Red Zone. I hope you're checking out 1 hour of 5 Yard Rush, one of the best podcasts on NFL football in the UK.
Good evening, everyone. This is the 5 Yard Rush NFL Fans Mock Draft 2.0. I am your commissioner for this evening, Murph. Just wanted to thank you all for watching this or listening to this at what is a difficult time for the world. You've got the pandemic, which is costing thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people their lives, with many and many more suffering at home. We hope that this brings some comfort and light entertainment to proceedings, and we really hope that you're able to enjoy this and that all your families and friends are safe. Do remember to keep those distances and wash those hands. So without further ado, we will be introducing tonight's mock draft. This one has been a bit more of a challenge due to what's going on. As you can tell, there's no studio. It's people completely remotely, almost in very similar settings to the actual event that will happen in just 2 days' time, or 1 day time, depending on when you're hearing it, maybe even draft day itself if you've decided to save this episode. And that's absolutely great. And if you are listening to this and you do enjoy this, we do ask if you can just contribute anything you can afford, as little as much as possible, to some form of NHS charity. If you haven't already done so, that would be absolutely brilliant. I know on the night they're going to be doing some form of draft-a-thon, telethon, and I know that we don't necessarily have to say reach as the NFL, but if there was a way that we can potentially just raise a little bit of money for the NHS and those that are really struggling at the moment, that would be absolutely amazing. So we're not going to do a formalized fund me or link. At the end of the day, we're here to entertain. But if you do find this entertaining and would like to do something, that would be a really wonderful thing to do. So we are going to be getting on with today's proceedings, or tonight's proceedings, and I can officially now say that the 2020 5 Yard Rush NFL Fan Mock Draft 2.0 is officially open, and that the Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock.
Hi, I'm Adam Wolford. I run touchdowntips.com. You can find me at touchdowntips on Twitter, and I'll be picking for the Cincinnati Bengals in the 5 Yard Rush mock draft. With the first selection in the draft, unsurprisingly, we're taking Joe Burrow. He's the consensus number one from pretty much everywhere you can read, and it's not surprising. He was the Heisman Trophy winner last year. He set many, many records, including 60 passing touchdowns in a season. He was responsible for 65 as he rushed for 5 himself. He threw for 463 yards in the final against Clemson, which is a record. He was responsible for 521 yards in that game as he rushed a fair bit as well. In the previous game against Oklahoma, he threw for 7 touchdowns in one half, finishing with just under 500 yards in that game against them. The Bengals are in need of a franchise quarterback, and given the fact that Andy Dalton is likely moving on, he's always been distinctly average. This is the chance to reignite the fan base, to reignite the franchise, to bring some people back into that stadium in Ohio. Speaking of Ohio, Joe Burrow is an Ohio lad. He lives down the road. His family are down the road. His girlfriend lives around the area as well. So it would mean a fairly easy transition for him. He is very comfortable under pressure as well, which is very good for the Bengals. Obviously, the offensive line issues are talked about quite often in Cincinnati. So having someone who was the best in college last year under pressure would be a pretty big benefit for the Bengals. We welcome back Jonah Williams, who was injured for the whole of last year. So that's a big piece of the offensive line already sorted. We re-signed Trey Hopkins at center, who was rated very highly by PFF last year. And in this draft, I would imagine we will be making a couple more picks at offensive line. The offense in general is pretty darn good. We got Joe Mixon, who's one of the better running backs in the league. If AJ Green comes back fit this year, obviously he's franchise tagged, then we have one of the best wide receivers in the league to go alongside John Ross, who was explosive in parts last year, and Tyler Boyd, who put up another 1,000-yard season. while at the Bengals. We've resupplied on in the secondary with Trey Waynes and Mackenzie Alexander, hopefully stocking up there, and Von Bell coming in at safety to improve what was one of the worst secondaries in the league last year. It was a debut season for Zach Taylor, and we look forward to him improving this season and the offense improving on the whole. With Joe Burrow there, that is a pretty big step forward, and hopefully he'll be the face of the franchise for the next 15, 20 years going forward. That's me done. Big hoo day for the Bengals and Bengals fans out there. Visit my website, touchdowntips.com, and enjoy the rest of the draft. Hoo day!
With the second pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Washington Redskins select Chase Young, edge rusher, Ohio State. I've just had word come through to me that the pick is supposed to be made by Lawrence at the Full 10 Yards podcast. His audio and video is down. It looks like Dan Snyder, owner of the Washington Redskins, has failed to pay the electric bill for all of his staff and employees during this time. And that's meant that Lawrence is unable to be on audio video to tell us about the reaction of the pick. With the third pick in the 2025 yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Detroit Lions select.
The third pick, the Detroit Lions will no longer be taking Derek Brown. During the offseason, we've added Nick Williams and Danny Shelton to kind of assist with the defensive line, so I don't consider that a priority at the moment. So the third pick for the Detroit Lions will be changing. And we will be taking, with the third pick, Jeffrey Okudah, Ohio State. Losing Darius Slay during the offseason to the Eagles has given us some draft capital with which to work. But we do need someone to work alongside Desmond Trufant. Now, we do have Coleman, although he does have an out at the end of this year. So it is potential that he could be leaving us at this time. We also have Amani Oruwariye. He's potentially a long-term prospect. He may fill that gap, but at the present we don't know. So with the reasoning for Jeffrey Okudah, who we will be taking the pick, is to enhance and have a sort of an immediate impact on for the cornerback. And then I would expect the Lions to take readdress that defensive line for the edge and the interior in the second and third rounds of the draft. There is an outside chance in those second and third rounds they may go for a wide receiver as well. We've got Marvin Jones coming up to the end of his contract on his final year, so they want someone to work alongside Kenny Golladay, so that's a possibility. But for the moment, the immediate priority for the Lions is to go for a cornerback who can make an immediate impact on the team, and for that reason, Jeffrey Okudah seems to be the guy. Thank you.
With the fourth pick in the 2025 yard rush mock draft 2.0, the New York Giants select Isaiah Simmons, linebacker, Clemson. So unfortunately, with the fourth pick, Dave Gettleman's computer folks have seemed to cut the feed to Jack Humphrey of the Kickers Matter podcast, who was due to be joining us to give us his reasons, or the team's reasons for the pick. So it looks like the money that Dave Gettleman has spent on computer folk hasn't quite worked in his favor, and it looks like he's going to have to spend more time on his little desk or whatever it was that he was doing with all of his toys and post-it notes. I mean, I guess we'll never know. Maybe the post-it note all along said, cut the feed for Jack at Kickers Matter podcast to ensure he doesn't speak on our behalf. I don't know. I'm throwing it out there as conjecture. With the fifth pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Miami Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, Alabama.
Spoken to the health and strength guys. They're telling me he gets clean bill of health so far. It makes sense. We collected picks last year with the intention of selecting Tua. The injury doesn't actually change it an awful lot with the clean bill of health. I think it's worth taking the chance, as the gap between him and Herbert is quite significant. If there's no off season this year, it's okay. We can redshirt him if he's physically fit to play. Don't be surprised if you see him at the back end of the season. Also, having a quarterback room with Ryan Fitzpatrick in is going to be great. Show him how to learn to be an NFL quarterback. He even came out and said that himself, in the pre-draft visits that he'd done. So I'm over the moon. If this plays out in real life, I'd be virtually running to the podium to hand in the card for Tua Tagovailoa to be the quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, hopefully for the next decade or more.
With the 6th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Los Angeles Chargers select Tristan Wirfs, offensive tackle, Iowa.
Hello, it's Lee from FULTON Yards. Excuse my corona haircut, going wild at the moment. I think trip to the barbers once this is all over is well and truly in order. So I'm here to make the 6th overall pick for the Chargers, my Chargers. And I'm going with Tristan Wirfs, defensive tackle out of Iowa. Wirfs will bookend the Chargers line with fellow Iowa tackle Brian Bulaga. So why did I make this pick? So it's a tough choice, actually, for me. Even though it's a fan mock that we're doing, I kind of deliberated over this pick for quite a while, actually, quite a few minutes. In the previous mock that we made prior to the scouting combine, I picked Justin Herbert, the Oregon QB. I was more than happy with that pick at the time. I was fairly sure the Chargers were going to make that pick at that time as well. However, for the 2 months down the timeline, I'm not really sure anymore. But I don't think that's a bad pick if the Chargers ended up taking Justin Herbert. I think he's a good QB. I think he's a good prospect. I think in the right environment and with the right team, he'll have a good NFL career. I don't think there's any question about that. Further than that, if the Chargers did end up making that pick in a few days' time, I'm more than happy with it, depending on what their options were and what sort of players were available at that time. So what's changed then? Why am I suddenly changing my mind and going towards Tristan Wirfs? Well, my belief that the Chargers are going to pick best player available rather than kind of be railroaded into picking a QB is kind of really strengthened over this time. Anthony Lynn's been really bullish over Tyrod Taylor. They're obviously familiar with each other in familiarity in this time with the coronavirus. Possibly a shortened season is going to be really, really valuable. I think he's going to have a leg up over any rookie QB that might come in at any point in the draft. So also I think the QB kind of will come in at some point. Obviously, Tyrod's only under one contract for one more season. I do think that he's not the long-term answer. And there will be a QB coming in late down the line. I have my final mock draft coming out on the FultonYards.com. That'll be out on Wednesday, just before the draft, if you want to go out and check that out. I'll be very grateful for first and foremost. And I do actually have the Chargers doing that. I have the Chargers trading up into the first round to do that. So you have to go over to FultonYards.com on Wednesday and have a look at that and sort of see how I did that. So to Wirfs then, how did I end up here? Well, personally, little disclaimer, I actually want Isaiah Simmons as the best player available. But this wasn't possible in this mock that we did. Simmons was gone just before me to the Giants. And now I'm in this quandary now with either Justin Herbert, the pick that I made last time, or Tristan Wirfs, or another offensive tackle. And why Tristan Wirfs then? So I feel like it's a player that the Chargers would value really highly, given the way that they build their offensive linemen, their offensive line, and like their offensive linemen, sorry. They drafted Trey Pipkins last year, Sam Tevi a couple of years ago, Dan Feeney and Forrest Lamp as guards. Also a couple of years ago, all of them have great athletic profiles. And that's the way that Anthony wants to roll with a mobile QB and have a strong running game. And that's where Tristan Wirfs comes in. Obviously, we saw him destroy the combine, and his best strength is in the run game. The way he gets out in space, destroys blockers. I think it's going to be something that sort of whets the appetite of Anthony Lynn and also Tom Telesco as well. So I just think that's going to be one of the big strengths. He needs a bit of work in pass protection, but in my opinion, most college offensive tackles do. They don't really come out polished in that regard, and I think it's something that can be worked on. And he has good experience in all spots in the line, apart from centre, so good bit of versatility there. I think it'd be a really good pick for LA. I think the ceiling's sky high. I think Tristan Wirfs is a potential All-Pro at some point. So yeah, more than happy to make this pick for the Chargers and lock it in at number 6. Thanks guys. Thanks for putting this all together. And over to Carolina with the 7th pick.
With the 7th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Carolina Panthers select Derek Brown, defensive tackle, Clemson.
Hi guys, Nia here from NFL with Nia. I think that the Carolina Panthers should draft Derek Brown, defensive tackle from Auburn, as their 7th overall pick in the draft this year. The reason why I think that they should do this is because the guy is an absolute powerhouse. I think that he has a phenomenal skill set. He is an absolute beast on the field. And when we look at what he produced in college last year in terms of numbers, he racked up 33 solo tackles, 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. You know, the guy is 6'5", he's 318 pounds. He is an absolute monster, and I think that he would be awesome on any defense. But I think when we look at Carolina specifically, I think that, you know, they've got a lot of holes that they now need to plug on that defense. So if I'm their sort of GM, I wouldn't be going with an offensive player for that 7th pick. I would definitely use it on a defensive player. And I think that logically, my mind just goes straight to Derek Brown. I think he would be, as I said, great on any defense, but I think that when we take into account that we've seen the Panthers get rid of big guys like Mario Addison, and we've also seen the release of safety Eric Reed, and we've seen James Bradbury go over to the Giants as well, I think that there's a lot of holes to plug, and I think that we need a big new name coming into the Carolina Panthers defense, and I think that he would be a great addition to that team and that locker room energy.
With the 8th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Arizona Cardinals select Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle, Alabama.
Hi guys, it's Andrew here from the American Football Cast to make the number 8 pick for the Arizona Cardinals. Obviously, last time we did this, I chose CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver. But since then, the Cardinals, and I'm sure Murph would agree with this, have made the biggest move in the NFL this offseason by trading for DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans. So there's no need for that number 1 receiver to be taken here at number 8. So that leaves, for me, 3 options in terms of players, but 1 option in terms of position. It has to be offensive tackle at number 8. Obviously, Tristan Wirfs is gone, so we're left with the choice between Andrew Thomas, Jedrick Wills, and Mekhi Becton. Now, with Thomas, he looks like he's primarily going to play left tackle, and Cardinals have obviously just signed up DJ Humphries to a 3-year deal to play at left tackle, so that doesn't seem like the sensible pick to make for me. So that leaves it between Wills and Becton, and really here it's a decision as to whether you want to have a sort of more reliable pick here or someone who could be brilliant. I think the aim of this draft, with everything else that's gone around it, is to make the pick that's solid rather than trying to hit it out the park. And so for that reason, the number 8 selection for the Arizona Cardinals is Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle from Alabama.
With the 9th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle, South Carolina.
Hey there, Rush Nation. You join me in the Jacksonville Jaguars war room to discuss our signing at number 9 in the most recent Rush Nation mock draft. With number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars chose Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle from South Carolina. This time in the first draft, the pre-combine draft, we selected Isaiah Simmons, who remarkably fell to us. A combination of his very impressive combine performance and other GMs higher up the food chain than us in the draft, picking slightly more sensibly this time out. Simmons didn't fall to us. Following the Jags media chat, looking at who their drafting preferences are, it appears that Derek Brown is really high up on their list. He went earlier than 9 as well, which left us with a choice of 3 options, really. We could look at one of the premier wide receivers that was still left on the board. We could look at one of the offensive tackles that's still left on the board, or we could go for the second best defensive tackle in the draft behind Brown. The choice for me came down to the Jaguars front office being higher on the offensive tackles that we currently have in the squad than I am. If it was my choice and my choice alone, I would have gone offensive tackle with this pick. Personally, I think our wide receiving core is decent without being exceptional, which means that putting the first pick of the first round there is not necessarily the way forwards, which left me going for Kinlaw, which is a choice I'm happy to make. He's a guy I was really hoping to fall to me at 20, the first draft we did, and that was never likely to happen. So I've taken that uncertainty off the board and taken him at number 9 this time out. He'll be a really strong piece in our defensive structure, helping us stop the run, which we struggled with last year, and really complementing Josh Allen. With the loss of Calais Campbell and the probable loss of Yannick Ngakoue, it's an area we need to strengthen, and he really will. So, number 9, Javon Kinlaw. Very happy we've been able to pick this guy up. Cheers, Rush Nation.
With the 10th pick in the 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Cleveland Browns select Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle, Georgia.
Good morning, Cleveland. So we're here in the Browns draft room and we're looking at who are we picking at number 10. Luckily, it did get a bit scary, but we're okay. And I'm just checking my phone, seeing any trade deals coming in before we make the pick. But Arizona Cardinals, thank you, lads. You did us a favor. We were scared. We thought our guy would be gone, but they picked Jedrick Wills, saves us. Now we've got Conklin at right tackle. No interest in Wills. He's not the guy that's ever going to be drafted by a team to jump in straight at left tackle without a big risk. Unfortunately, the LA Chargers, they did well. They got Tristan Wirfs. He'd be the only other guy we'd be interested in. But luckily, we got what is considered the safest left tackle prospect in the entire draft, and that is Andrew Thomas. So we're over the moon. We're picking Andrew Thomas. For me, there's only 3 options here at number 10. You've got Wirfs, you've got Andrew Thomas, you've got trade back. Any of the other guys, we're not interested. Left tackle, right tackle, pretty much the same, but we've got Conklin locked down at right tackle. So you're not going to ask someone to switch because that's where you get into the danger. In terms of talent and need, they're basically the same position in the modern NFL. Von Miller runs at right tackles. You're not suddenly able to just switch a left tackle over to the right. They're locked in. Whoever's left is left, right is right. Famous saying goes, it's like changing the hand you wipe your ass with. But we're locked in. Left tackle's what we needed. We jumped on him. There's a few names for a trade back, whether it's Josh Jones, whether it's Ezra Cleveland, but Mekhi Becton is not of interest here. There's too much risk. He definitely has the potential to be the best tackle in this draft. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's a bad player, but he does have the lowest floor out of any of those top tackle prospects. So that's the reason we're going to stay off, because tackle, the difference between an above average tackle, sort of a top 5 tackle and a top 1 tackle isn't that much. Whereas any risk you get of dropping from just above average to comfortably below average, there is a massive gap in the league. So we just want to be really good. And that's why Andrew Thomas is the guy the Browns is taking. If not, we're looking for that trade down, whether it's Denver picking up the phone, whether it's Atlanta picking up the phone. Hopefully we have the dream spot of there's only 2 quarterbacks gone and someone is willing to pay us an absolute fortune to get their guy. But either way, have fun drafting, guys. Stay safe. And remember, go Brownies.
With the 11th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the New York Jets select Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, Alabama.
Hi, everyone. Adam Sandler here, the world's most famous New York Jets fan. I can't tell you where I am currently. I'm on a secret mission in England, preparing for a film in 2021 where I play a bored northerner in isolation. With the 11th pick of the 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the New York Jets select Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, coming out of Alabama. The reason why we didn't pick Jedrick Wills in the second version of this mock is he was off the board. There was 1 offensive tackle left, which was Mekhi Becton. He'd be pretty good in the run game for our friend Le'Veon Bell, but he doesn't do much in terms of pass protection for quarterback Sam Darnold. Therefore, we're going to take the best wide receiver on the board, which is Jerry Jeudy. His route running is second to none. He's ready to start in the NFL from day one. The Jets desperately need a wide receiver, and they've got the best one available.
With the 12th pick in the 5-yard rush 2020 mock draft 2.0, the Las Vegas Raiders select CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, Oklahoma.
With the 12th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders select CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver, Oklahoma. The Raiders never really recovered in 2019 after the Antonio Brown saga left them without a true wide receiver one. Hunter Renfrew stepped up admirably, but he's more of a slot guy. He's not going to be that wide receiver one target in the NFL, and he's not going to be able to stretch the field in the same way that John Gruden likes his offense to do. This wide receiver class in 2020, it's a kind of pick your poison. You've got Jerry Jeudy, you've got CeeDee Lamb, you've got Henry Ruggs with that breakneck speed that can stretch the field. But for me, CeeDee Lamb is the wide receiver one. You look back at his production in college, you look at he leads all of those three in average yards per reception, led the Big 12 in receiving touchdown. He's strong, he's tough, he can make contested catches, and he showed at the NFL Combine that he's got that speed that was a big knock on his game. He's got that speed to be able to make plays down the field, and his overall performance at the NFL Combine was really impressive, really helped to improve his draft stock. And for me, CeeDee Lamb's the wide receiver one, and he's a fantastic addition to this Las Vegas Raiders offense. He gives Derek Carr or Marcus Mariota or whoever they draft in this NFL draft class a real, genuine wide receiver one threat.
With the 13th pick in the 5-yard rush 2020 mock draft 2.0, the San Francisco 49ers select Henry Ruggs, wide receiver, Alabama.
Hey guys, Ben Rolfe here from the San Francisco 49ers to do the 13th pick in the 5-yard rush mock draft. So you may wonder why I'm dressed like a moody teenager. Well, essentially, we have been doing theme days at home for San Francisco to try and keep the mood and morale up. And today just happened to be, coincidentally, dressed like Kyle Shanahan day. So here I am, dressed like Kyle Shanahan on the sidelines. So we're going to get to the pick now. And with the 13th overall pick, we are going to select hang on a sec, guys. Sorry, my phone is just ringing. Hi, Carl. Yeah. What do you mean he's been taken? Who took him? The Jaguars. I thought they were the B team for the Los Angeles Rams. Okay. We're going to go to Plan B. Okay. Have you checked this with John? Okay. Sorry, you don't care what John thinks. John had his choice with Javon. You want your choice now. Okay, Carl. I'll call it in. Just on the call now. So sorry about that, guys, but with Javon Kinlaw off the board, we are going to go for Henry Ruggs out of Alabama. What is there not to love about Ruggs? He is a speedster, and he can absolutely blow teams away with that speed. He will take the top off those defenses and allow guys like Kittle and Samuel to work underneath and open up space for the running backs coming out of the backfield. He's a player we love. He's a little bit raw in certain places, such as with his route running, but that's something we really feel like we can refine and make him into a complete player that is going to be a devastating force at the next level.
With the 14th pick of the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle, Louisville. Hi there, it's Murph here calling from Buccaneers draft room. Everyone has just left the room after making our first selection in this 2020 draft. We decided to go this time round with offensive tackle Mekhi Becton out of Louisville. Becton is an absolute beast. He's 6'7", 364 pounds. He can play right and left tackle. Probably is the highest ceiling of anybody in this tackle class. Really good in the run game, creating space as well as also protecting the quarterback. So he's someone that adds a lot of versatility. Again, can play at right tackle or left tackle. In our original selection back in February, or my original selection, we went with Javon Kinlaw. Kinlaw for us was and still is an excellent prospect. 2 reasons we didn't go for him this time round is 1, he was already off the board, and 2, we managed to re-sign Ndamukong Suh for another 12 months, which is a huge gain for this defensive unit. Keeping the majority of the front 5 together especially was really key in our development for next year. So but we're really excited to get Becton. This is an excellent prospect who is going to slot in day one, give us some extra protection for our new franchise quarterback, Tom Brady, for the next couple of years. And will give us some opportunities to look at what we do going forward with that flexibility of left tackle and right tackle. So really pleased that he has fallen to us here, and we're very happy to welcome him to the Buccaneers facility when the season finally kicks off. So you'll hear more of my commentary on the other picks later on, but for this one, home run hit for us. We're very excited and very happy to make this selection. With the 15th pick of the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Denver Broncos select CJ Henderson, cornerback, Florida.
Yep, John. Yep. Yes, John, I know this one's for you. John, look, I've got to go. I'm on air. Oh, what's happening? It's your boy Stocks, picking for the Denver Broncos at 15. And John's been in my ear, and the players that are left are just not what we needed. So we wanted to trade back. No one came up with any options. So we took the best cornerback available on the board, and that's CJ Henderson. Obviously, Kinlaw would have been great. We wanted one of the three receivers, but San Francisco foiled Ruggs, joining Cortland Sutton in the wide receiver room. So we've gone with CJ Henderson out of Florida. This one's for you, Murph. The Gators' best cornerback option. We see him as the second cornerback on the board behind, obviously, Jeff Okudah, but we were never going to get him at 15 without moving up. Didn't get a receiver, so we went for the second corner. CJ Henderson's fluid. He's got speed to get down the vertical routes. We see him as a big, strong boy who can immediately make an impact opposite AJ Bouye. He's got everything that the Florida Gators instilled into him, which we can slide right into our defensive backfield. Defensive coordinator, at Florida said he was the best cornerback he has ever taught. So that bodes well. Pairing them two up, let's get the no-fly zone back in Mile High. That's right, I'm pitch side. You heard it here first. At 15, the Denver Broncos have taken CJ Henderson.
With the 16th pick of the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Atlanta Falcons select Kavlon Chason, edge rusher, LSU.
Guys, Thomas Dimitrov, Atlanta Falcons GM here, as you can see by the name on the screen. I'm stuck at home, just like you are during this coronavirus situation, but the draft must go on. So in the 2020 NFL Draft, at number 16, the Atlanta Falcons select Kavlon Chason, edge, LSU. We need another edge rusher to pair with our very, very expensive new acquisition Dante Fowler and third-year player Takk McKinley. He's the best player on our board left, and we are super excited to be bringing this young man into Flowery Branch. Well, when we can get him here, after all this coronavirus stuff is finished. But yeah, we'll forget about that. Yeah, we're taking Kavlon. He's very agile, very smart with a great football IQ. His first step explosiveness is something that we value very, very highly. He's great against the QB, and he's good against the run. His lateral mobility stands out to us. Kavlon is still a developing pass rusher who will only improve as he gets into the NFL. And if he doesn't, then we're stuck with another Vic Beasley who will just release after 2 or 3 years. Right. Sorry to cut this short, but I'm off to go and comb my hair. I've got to keep looking smart. Thank you.
With the 17th pick of the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Dallas Cowboys select Xavier McKinney, safety, Alabama.
Hello everyone, Tim here, picking for the Dallas Cowboys at 17, and I've picked him once. I'm going to pick him again. It's Xavier McKinney, safety out of Alabama. Look, Dallas need a lot of playmakers, a lot of different people that can do a lot of different things on defense. So Xavier McKinney is a game changer. He's a guy that can go make a play. He's a guy that's going to make something out of nothing. It's not something that Dallas defenders over the years have been too well known for. So Xavier McKinney is a guy that plays with a lot of attitude, plays a lot of heart. And the thing is, with Mike Nolan, our new defensive coordinator, coming in for Mike McCarthy, he's going to mix it up a little bit. He's going to show a lot of different packages. He's going to try and confuse the defense a little more. Put it this way, he's going to be a lot more deceptive, a lot more creative than previous regimes. So Xavier McKinney can do a lot of things. He can come down and blitz and be in the box. Whilst he's also a great open field tackler as well. But he's also got a high football IQ. He's also got a knack for making plays on the back end as well. So for someone to plug someone in like him who can be all over the defense, it's going to be really really important for someone from Mike Nolan, even from snap one come the 2020 season. So we signed Clinton Dix for 1 year, $4 million deal. So I did ponder whether or not to go corner. If CJ Henderson was still on the board there, or if trades were allowed, probably would have go up to 15 to go and get CJ Henderson. But is what it is. We stick with Xavier McKinney at 17. Very happy that he will become a Cowboy.
With the 18th pick of the 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, the Miami Dolphins select Josh Jones, offensive tackle, Houston.
With the 18th selection in the 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, I am selecting offensive tackle Josh Jones out of Houston. I originally took Caleb Chase on in this position in the 1.0 mock draft. He was off the board at this stage, so I think it's important to start building an O-line for my new quarterback. He's great in pass protection, still has a little bit to work on in the run. I think he's got some time before Tua is potentially healthy to play. This gives him time to develop somewhat. Our coaching staff did a great job last year of developing undrafted free agents to make them good level starters in the NFL. So I've got complete faith that they can get the job done. I think Josh Jones has got a lot of upside and was pretty happy to have him at 18. I think perhaps come draft night, possibly even available at 26.
With the 19th pick of the 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, the Las Vegas Raiders select AJ Terrell, cornerback, Clemson.
With the 19th overall pick, the Las Vegas Raiders select AJ Terrell, cornerback, Clemson. You only need to watch some of the Raiders games last year to see what a glaring need they had at the cornerback position. Going into the draft process, the linebacker position was probably one of a greater need, but they've addressed that through free agency. And cornerback now, behind wide receiver, remains the true need. Thankfully for the Raiders, there's a number of good cornerbacks in this class. Obviously, Jeffrey Okudah and CJ Henderson are at the top of there. And there's a number of good fits for them behind those guys. What they get with AJ Terrell is, as they did with last year's draft picks, they get that winning mentality, that high character, high caliber guy from a winning college program in Clemson. Terrell taking a lot of flack for his performance in the national championship defeat to LSU, but what people tend to forget is how well he started that game against, two of the guys in Justin Jefferson and Shamar Chase, who are going to be two wide receivers at the top of two consecutive NFL draft classes. I like what Terrell brings to the game. He's got good length, and he's, as we said before, he's got that winning mentality and that high character that John Gruden and Mike Mayock want to build this Las Vegas Raiders franchise with. And it will certainly help alongside former teammate TREVON Mullen and the likes of Jonathan Abrams at safety back there. It's going to help solidify that Las Vegas Raiders secondary.
With the 20th pick of the 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Justin Jefferson, wide receiver, LSU.
Welcome back to the Jaguars Boardroom Rush Nation. You join us with the exciting news of our pick at 20 in the first round. At 20, the Jacksonville Jaguars selected Justin Jefferson, wide receiver from LSU. Justin's a great prospect, I think. He's a very reliable pair of hands, filling a need within our wide receiving core. We had an excellent production last year from DJ Chark, but fairly spotty production from D.D. Westbrook, Chris Conley. There was a lot of drops in there in critical situations, and while some long bomb work was done successfully by those pair, what we really need is a more reliable pair of hands for third and short, for red zone situations, and I think that's what Justin Jefferson will provide for us. He's an interesting character in that he doesn't really excel in any specific area. He doesn't have massive strengths or massive weaknesses. He's just an all-round reliable wide receiver, and I think that's what our core needs. Someone sitting there at WR2 and reliably picking up those slant route sort of catches, the stuff on third down that really keeps the chains moving, the stuff in the red zone that gives you that bit more production that we had last year. It was a real area of concern last year, the red zone production. So I think he'll be a valuable addition to the team, and I look forward to welcoming him aboard. So long, Rush Nation.
With the 21st pick of the 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, the Philadelphia Eagles select Trevon Diggs, cornerback, Alabama.
Evening all from the Philadelphia War Room. Hope you're all staying safe. As you can see, we're all in self-isolation here. There is only me here. Social distancing at its finest. But the selection is in. We've been working hard, and with the 21st pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Trevon Diggs, cornerback from Alabama. We're obviously aware that receiver's still an issue for this team. It would have been an ideal scenario for Henry Ruggs or Justin Jefferson to fall to us. Sadly, he was just snagged in the pick before by the Jags. In the previous mock that we did, we selected T. Higgins, and as expected and predicted at that time, some of the receivers that were taken above this position seem to have slipped down the big board a little bit post-combine. We're not willing to draft a T. Higgins at this stage in the draft. I think it's a little bit risky now, given the talent that's on the board. What we will do is probably address that position in the second or third round. Maybe someone like a Denzel Mims or a Jalen Reagor may fall to us at that stage in the draft. But we're going for Trevon Diggs. We really like his size and length at 6'2", so he's got that big frame. Receivers in the NFL are really going to struggle with him at the line of scrimmage. He's a really physical corner. He's drawn comparisons from Aqib Talib, that really tough, physical, in-your-face kind of cornerback when it comes to coverage. We didn't get to see him work out at the combine in any drills. Sadly, the Alabama Pro Day was cancelled as well with what's going on with COVID-19. But it is his size and length that's helped him haul in 3 interceptions in his most recent season, 2019, for Alabama. One that he actually returned 79 yards for a touchdown as well. One of the biggest question marks for Trevon Diggs is that he's not the quickest corner in his class, but what he does have is the benefit of being a converted offensive player, and that shows in his ability to make those minor adjustments when needed and to read routes when he's covering those receivers. Again, there's that question mark of whether he can cover downfield, but we feel he can. That physicality is really going to help him at the line, and then the adjustments that he can make from his previous experience as an offensive player. We feel he's a really good pickup at this stage and a really good 1-2 punch combination with Darius Slay, we've just acquired in free agency as well. We're hoping that that's our guys covering on the outside. We lost Malcolm Jenkins, sadly, at the back, but this is definitely going to strengthen the secondary. So really looking forward to seeing what Trevon Diggs is going to do for us this season.
With the 22nd pick of the 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, the Minnesota Vikings select KRISTIAN Fulton, cornerback, LSU.
Welcome to the Vikings pick at 22. I'm Dan Harris-Gorilov of The Touchdown. I'm amazed that Herbert's still on the board. If there was any kind of situation where we could do trades in this, it would make a lot of sense. People trying to jump up in front of the Patriots and the Saints for what could be their quarterback of the future or the now for the Patriots, I guess. The Vikings can't really go there because they just gave a 2-year extension with pretty much all of it guaranteed to Kirk Cousins, and he's not a bad quarterback anyway, so may as well carry on. There's a dearth of cornerbacks there, and last time we did this, I said Trey Waynes wasn't a Pro Bowler, and now he's not even a Viking. So he's gone, and they've got an even bigger gap there. There's been a run on them over the last couple of picks anyway. KRISTIAN Fulton's still on the board. I picked him at 25 last time. This time I'm going to be taking him at 22 just to make sure we get him. I actually would have had him as the third cornerback anyway. If you want to check out a great interview with him, that's over on The Touchdown. Ollie did a great job of speaking with KRISTIAN. And yeah, he's a first round grade for me, so I think he's going to do well for the Vikings, unfortunately for me. And I think he has the potential to develop into a number one corner. I think he's maybe slightly raw at the moment, but most prospects are. And I think he's got all the traits and all the physical ability to develop into a lockdown corner. So I think he's going to serve the Vikings well for a good while to come.
With the 23rd pick in the 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, the New England Patriots select Jordan Love, quarterback, Utah State.
Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you're all well and staying home and being as safe as you can. If you're watching this on YouTube or whatever. Sorry about the lockdown here, it's getting a bit longer. Thought about putting it, but sod it, we'll leave it for now. It is crazy times we're living in right now, and I'm sure it'll continue for a while yet, unfortunately. So, having gotten all the pleasantries out of the way, let's get down to business. When we originally done this draft a couple of months back, after the Super Bowl, I drafted Curtis Weaver of Boise State, an edge rusher who probably won't go in the first round, but is of good pedigree and of sound health, so that's why I went for him, because the way we done it last time, linebackers and edge rushers all seem to go pretty quick, and this one, even though Patriots at number 23, as you know. I still believe we need an edge rusher and also linebackers, since Van Noy and Collins has left, unfortunately, to respective teams. However, since that time of recording the last draft with Merton Stocks, the axe unfortunately fell on the career of one Tom Brady in New England. He has since moved on to ride alongside Captain Hook as a Buccaneer and may be the best man suited to ascertain Peter Pan status in the NFL by playing forever, but in turn that leads me on to my selection. So, with the 23rd pick of the 2020 NFL Draft, the New England Patriots select Jordan Love, quarterback of Utah State. Now, I've just read that out, and there'll be a lot of WTF, jaw-dropping people right now, either watching this or listening to this, but, huh? Why has he selected him? Well, Herbert's still on the board at this stage, and I think a lot of people probably will go for Herbert over Love, but I just feel that what Jordan Love can bring to the table instead of Herbert is what the Patriots are looking for in terms of the quarterback position. I don't think, for whatever reason, I know there's little snippets in the actual season and then some in pre-season last year, of what we've seen of Jarrett Stidham, and anyone who has listened to my podcast, Patriots Nation UK, the first ever episode I've done was on Jarrett Stidham, and I still believe in him, but I'm not sure Bill Belichick in the back office of New England Patriots do. So I feel they will draft a quarterback, and that person will be Jordan Love. That's about as much of the reasoning and explanation as I'm going to go into, because I'm also intrigued to find out other people's views from you, the listener or watcher, on who New England should select at 23. Maybe you take Herbert instead of Love, if both are still available at the time, that is, obviously. And I'm sure we'll hear from Stocks and Murph on what their thoughts are too. So if you want to discuss this selection with me or anything else Patriots or NFL related, the best place to find me is on Twitter at Matt Inkster, at MATTINKSTER, or at Pats Nation UK Pod. That's the two places we are. I've not done one as in podcast in 2-3 months now, since the Super Bowl itself. Various family things and such like, and honestly this coronavirus was a bit all too consuming at the beginning of it. I've since learned to stay off of social media a lot more, not read the news as much, and just stay home, stay safe, take this what it is, take family time as much as I can get it for now, and take it from there, listen to what the guidance is, and it'll change eventually, kind of move my peace with it, so to speak. So anyway, I've rambled on enough, guys. Sorry, stop too much for that. Cheers, guys, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Go Pats!
The 24th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the New Orleans Saints select Kenneth Murray, linebacker, Oklahoma.
Hey Stocks, hey Murphs, Rush Nation. This is Simon Carroll from the Collapsing Pocket podcast and the Touchdown website here, all the way from New Orleans, Louisiana. You might have heard we're hosting our draft party in a brewery this year, so beers up, everybody. And with Sean Payton at home, chilling out with a Corona or with the Corona, not sure which one. And Dennis Allen, looking too young, couldn't get in. And Mickey Loomis, well, couldn't organise a piss up in the brew if he tried, could he? So it's down to me to make the pick, the 24th pick of the 2020 NFL draft. And we're going to go with Kenneth Murray, linebacker out of Oklahoma. I believe last time we did a mock like this, we went for Mekhi Becton, who fell all the way down the board to us, which is quite nice. Obviously, wasn't so luxurious this time in that regard. Didn't find a tackle to fall all the way down to us. And we don't really need any particular position, but linebacker may be probably the most position of need. We've got AJ Klein left. He's gone off to Buffalo. Obviously, Kiko Alonso's had a bit of a brutal career, so he's probably winding down a little bit in the centre. And Murray's that kind of guy. He's got the range. He's got the instincts. He's got the ability to tackle everybody that comes into his postcode. So we're very happy with the pick of Kenneth Murray from Oklahoma. Slot into that Mike linebacker spot and lead the Saints on to another 2-year window to the Super Bowl. Cheers, guys. All the best. Great to have me back on the show again, and enjoy the rest of the mock draft.
With the 25th pick in the 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, the Minnesota Vikings select AJ Epinesa, edge rusher, Iowa.
Welcome to the 25th pick of the NFL draft, and the Vikings are back on the clock. I probably should have covered this in the last video, but it's kind of weird, I guess, for them having 22 and 25 if they don't trade up or trade back. You essentially have to have two players right next to each other to get value here, and as luck would have it, I did, and I really considered this player that I'm going to take now at 22. I was playing a bit of game of cat and mouse, because I actually thought the Patriots and the Saints could both well take him. But with Herbert still on the board, I thought it was a good chance one of them would take him. Neither of them did, so clearly I shouldn't be gambling on this draft. But with Everson Griffin gone, I know they have a couple of players waiting in the wings, but I think getting a versatile defensive end who can play a bit of defensive tackle as well in a multiple front, which I think they're going to this season. I think AJ Epinesa is a great fit for the Vikings. People will talk about the fact that they need to go get a wide receiver in this class with Diggs, but with the top 4 gone and Mims is my next wide receiver, I don't think there's enough of a gap between Mims and the receivers that I think will go in the second round that the Vikings can maybe trade up a little bit for in the second round to get their pick of those. I think it's much better to take the advantage of the depth with the wide receivers in the second round, especially when you've already got Adam Thielen. And so, yeah, I think AJ Epinesa, you look at the way that the Packers struggled with that kind of constant defensive pressure from the 49ers in the conference championship game. I think that's a direction that would make sense for the Vikings to go. And I think AJ Epinesa and his versatility is a really good fit in that defense. I think Mike Zimmer will get a lot out of him. He slipped a lot in this draft from his athletic profile, but the way he plays the game, it's more about his technique and leverage on the line anyway. And I think that technique and that leverage and the fact that you won't have to teach that to him is a really big advantage, especially with the reduced practice times that are coming in the new CBA. So, yeah, Vikings fans, as a Packers fan, I'm not happy about the two players I gave you. I think the defense got even meaner. But I think if they went this way, you shouldn't be disappointed. Thanks, Murph. Thanks, Stocks. And enjoy the rest of the draft, guys.
With the 26th pick of the 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0, the Miami Dolphins select Antoine Winfield Jr., safety, Minnesota.
With the 26th selection in the 5-Yard Rush 2.0 mock draft, on behalf of the Dolphins, I'm taking safety Antoine Winfield Jr., the Minnesota Golden Gopher. Dolphins spent a lot of money in free agency on Byron Jones. They've got a lot of money invested in cornerback Xavier Howard. I think it's great to get a rookie on a 5-year deal potentially to help build out that. The defensive backfield kind of offset some of the money slightly, get the books right. Coach Brian Flores has spoken really highly of Winfield Jr. in the lead up to the draft. Was a big fan of his father when he played. He's also a great tackler, very high IQ guy. The sort of player that Brian Flores is going to really thrive with. Be able to move him around a little bit, do a few different things. A willing tackler. That's really the difference here between me selecting him and maybe passing on Grant Delpit, who was still on the board at this stage. Yeah, pretty happy with the selection. Again, possibly could get him in the top of the second round come Thursday night's draft. But I think getting that 5th-year option on his rookie deal makes a huge difference when you have so much money invested in the defensive backfield as the Miami Dolphins do right now.
With the 27th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Seattle Seahawks select Yetur Gross-Matos, edge rusher, Penn State.
Hey everyone, this is Duncan from 99 Yards, and I have just, in the Seahawks war room, just picked Yetur Gross-Matos for the Seahawks. I had picked Josh Jones in the first round. He wasn't available to me this time. This time, the defensive end was, and that would be such a highly valued prospect for these Seahawks. They got Collier last year, and he's possibly going to be a massive bust. Gross-Matos, he can play. He will play end, whereas we've picked, with or without Clowney, that is a need. We picked up Bruce Irvin, who played linebacker for us before. I see no reason why he won't again. We've got Benson Mayowa, but there's a real hole there. Lost Quinton Jefferson as well, so he feels a huge need. He's one of the high quality defensive ends in the draft, so I see no reason not to pick him over tackle. Another huge need, of course, but they picked up Brandon Shell. He may well play there. And there might be one or two players they can pick up in the next round in the right tackles. So, Gross-Matos for the Seahawks.
With the 28th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Baltimore Ravens select Patrick Queen, linebacker, LSU.
Ravens pick is in, and they're running to the virtual podium to select Patrick Queen, linebacker out of LSU. He's a fast coverage linebacker with great instincts. Will help to plug the hole left by CJ Mosley leaving in free agency last year. Queen is a great option. He's best player available and a top 15 talent in this draft. Previously, we went with Terrell Lewis, who would have also filled a need, but with the Ravens free agency additions and Lewis's injury history, it's a bit of a red flag. So I think Queen is the best option here. In terms of needs for the Ravens, they need coverage, need to improve their linebacker and edge, having shored up the central defensive line with Calais Campbell in free agency. They also need to improve interior offensive line with the retirement of Marshall Yonder. There's a bit of a need at cornerback as well. So with that in mind, in terms of players still on the board, we considered Gross-Matos as one option. Had they been available, then Chason, Ebenezer, Murray or Henderson would have been the option. But I think Queen is the best option for the Ravens and stops them being bullied in the front seven as they were in the playoffs last year.
With the 29th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Tennessee Titans select Isaiah Wilson, offensive tackle, Georgia.
Hi guys, this is Adam Foxcroft reporting from the Tennessee Titans war room somewhere in deepest Hertfordshire, I think. Strangely, Justin Herbert's still on the board when it comes down to pick number 29, which to me is absolutely incredible. Now, as a GM at this point, I'm probably looking to try and trade down. I suspect there would be a few teams that would quite happily move up out the second round and reach for Herbert. Given that since we last spoke, the Titans have signed Ryan Tannehill to a lengthy, meaty deal, going for a QB isn't the best approach right now. So with the 29th pick of the revamped second edition of the 5-yard rush mock draft, the Tennessee Titans select Isaiah Wilson out of Georgia, the offensive tackle. Now, given that I've got to pick an actual player that Tennessee need at this point, I think he fits the bill really well. And also given the fact that since we spoke, Jack Conklin has left and has become a Cleveland Brown. So there is some need on the offensive line. Now, Dennis Kelly may well step up, may well start at right tackle in his place, but someone with the physical skills of Isaiah Wilson could just be exactly what the team needs going forward and into the future. Great prospect. Maybe a bit of coaching, a bit of refinement needed, but I'd rather have someone with the huge size and the attributes that he has that can be coached into something quite impressive, particularly when you look at what the Titans offense is, which is heavily dependent on the run and heavily dependent on having a fantastic O-line, which we will need. So Isaiah Wilson is my pick. I just can't believe that someone's going to get the chance to pick Herbert at number 30, but there we go.
With the 30th pick in the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Green Bay Packers select Justin Herbert, quarterback, Oregon.
Hi, this is Richard from the Packers Draft Room. Our first round selection is quarterback Justin Herbert. Widely touted as one of the best QBs in the draft, we handed the Cardinals straight as we were on the clock. The draft situation for us fell perfectly and happened in a very similar way as it did for our selection of Aaron Rodgers, who's now our franchise quarterback, with him falling in the first round too. Like the pick with Aaron, we didn't mess around with the opportunity to pick up a great quarterback for the future who can sit behind Aaron for 2 or 3 years to learn the system and to learn the expectations of the league. Getting the most physically gifted player at a position this late in the draft just doesn't happen, and he can truly become a great with the time he can spend on the sidelines. Now, in the previous mock, our pick was a replacement linebacker, but both of the linebackers we would consider in the first round had both been taken off of the board, and with us being able to get the answer to one of the most important positions in football, quarterback, for a number of years down the road was just too good to pass up, and that's why we ultimately handed the card in. I'm off now just to celebrate with the guys, so take care.
With the 31st pick of the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the San Francisco 49ers select Cesar Ruiz, interior offensive lineman, Michigan.
Hi guys, Ben Rolfe back here with the San Francisco pick number 31 in the 5-yard rush mock. So after my earlier pick where I was dressed like Kyle Shanahan, I was told by John Lynch to reaffirm that him and Kyle are on equal footing in the franchise, and to address that, it's now no longer dressed like Kyle Shanahan Day, it's dressed like John Lynch Day. So you can see I'm now wearing a shirt and a jacket. So with pick 31, we debated going corner, but with all the main guys that we really liked off the board, we were left with going with our other favourite player in the draft right now, and that is Cesar Ruiz out of Michigan. Ruiz is an absolute mauler. I don't see many downsides to him. He was willing to go out and meet defenders head on. If there was no defender for him to take, he helped with his assignments, with the assignments of his fellow offensive linemen. He would get up into the second level and really help spring the run game. So he is a player we are really excited to have, and we really think it will help take our line to the next level. We built this offense around a strong run game, and Ruiz is just going to boost that while also giving us a fantastic anchor to the line in the centre of the passing game.
With the 32nd pick of the 2020 5-yard rush mock draft 2.0, the Kansas City Chiefs select Damon Arnett, cornerback, Ohio State.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me back. I'm going to get straight into it because I know this has been going on for a while and I'm sure you're buzzing to hear what the Kansas City Chiefs pick is. So, with pick number 32, the Kansas City Chiefs select Damon Arnett, cornerback from Ohio State. Now, not much change from the last mock that we did, as I chose Arnett there. Much the same reasons. They're obviously Super Bowl champions, so they've got a very deep roster. But I feel there are a couple of areas that they can do with improvement, and the main one is corner. And this class is so deep that obviously we've seen, I believe, 4 or 5 go before. But in my opinion, Arnett is my number 4 cornerback in this draft class. He has some very good skills. He is probably a bit more raw than some of the players, hence why in certain rankings he's a bit lower, but obviously being an Ohio State fan, I have watched quite a lot of him. He's got exceptional athleticism. His top end speed is good enough for the NFL in my opinion. He isn't a blaze setter, and he's definitely better in coverage, but I think it's all skills that can be learnt at the next level. He's shown a willingness and a desire at the college level, and potentially starting him slow, possibly special teams. It depends on who else they bring in, because obviously corner is one of the positions that they are a bit shallower on, so he may well be a day one starter, which could be a bit too soon for him. I'd want him to, like I say, get through training camp, get through pre-season, get some pre-season games under him, and then see how sort of how he sets to the NFL level there. But yeah, pick 32, Damon Arnett, solid option, very good potential, and I'm sure in the Kansas City team he would thrive. Thanks very much for having me, chaps. All the best.
This concludes the first round and only round of this 2020 5-Yard Rush Mock Draft 2.0. And many thanks to all the fans who have contributed to this, who have arrived on time for their picks, who have worked really hard to share their knowledge with you, and hope that you have all got a lot out of this. Special thanks as well to Ben Isaacs for his commentary and for his analysis of all the picks. And until next time, Rush Nation, for the next mock draft, which will be next year, keep rushing.
This is a 61-yard field goal attempt.
I'll freaking give him my paycheck. I'll give him my game check. He makes it.
Woo! Whoa! Hold your breath. Ball is spotted. The kick is away. And the kick is... It's gone!